Remembering Connecticut, the Yankee Peddlers. The cunning Yankee peddler is one of the most enduring symbols of Connecticut. But our view of him has been clouded by exaggerations concerning his conniving methods and his importance in the growth of manufacturing. Legends abound concerning his commercial wiles, usually along the lines of this 1830s account.
The Yankee peddlers go forth annually in the thousands to lie, cog, cheat, swindle, in short, to get possession of their neighbor's property in any manner.
But the sharp-dealing business practices of the peddlers were simply those of the emerging merchant class in New England and throughout the Northeast. And much of the criticism of peddlers was rooted in the cultural and economic tensions between the Northeast and other regions. Particularly in the South, where an agricultural economy persisted, the peddlers were open to criticism as the most visible representatives of a change that threatened not only the traditional economy, but the society that had grown up around it. The prevailing attitude was perhaps ironic, since the peddlers were in some ways compelled to deal more honestly than their northern employers. Only rarely did a peddler ever leave an area and not return. Because most sales were made on credit, the peddlers had to come back to collect, and many had to make good on bad products supplied by their employers. Clock peddler George Bartholomew reported back to Connecticut about extensive repair work he and his assistant undertook at no compensation, simply to preserve their reputation.
My assistant reported so unfavorably a story of the clocks that were sold last season that I thought best for us to go among them and repair and collect what we could. We have been all over the ground, called on every man that we held a note against, due or not, and repaired day and night until we left them very well satisfied.
No civil lawsuits or criminal charges were ever brought against peddlers for fraudulent dealings. The stereotype of the dishonest peddler was largely the creation of local merchants who viewed the peddlers as unfair competition. Southern commercial interests lobbied their legislatures to require licenses for peddlers and to set the license fees prohibitively high. The Southern merchants vied with the peddlers more directly as well, by offering similar goods more cheaply or at more favorable terms of credit. George Bartholomew complained,
"The business is getting duller every day. The merchants are selling on another year's credit, which injures me very much."
The merchants also capitalized on their advantages as local commodities brokers. They routinely accepted crops in payment and had established channels of trade to sell the crops, while the peddlers needed to get cash or negotiable credit for their goods in order to send the gains back to Connecticut. But cash was scarce, and when peddlers took crops like cotton in payment, they risked a severe financial loss if they could not sell it quickly and profitably. Before long, the manufacturers abandoned peddling as a marketing device. Connecticut factory owners simply adapted to the changing times and increased their direct sales to merchants and distributors in other regions. It simplified the marketing side of the business and, along with the improved transportation offered by canals and railroads, enabled an increase in shipping volume while reducing sales costs. The peddlers passed from importance at an early date, their heyday lasting only until the mid-1830s. And what became of them? Some, like George Bartholomew, took up manufacturing back in Connecticut. A great many others took advantage of their knowledge of remote regions by picking a promising area for settlement, where they opened general stores and passed into the respectability of the merchant class. The peddler's role in manufacturing growth was transitory, but he played a crucial part in migration from Connecticut in the early 19th century, as the forerunner of the thousands of families who left their hillside farms to settle the broad plains of the New West.